Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavadikacharya's Charasada Shishima's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shripad Ramanuja Acharya Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastai Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvasesa Shunyavadi Praschadishchani Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today on the calendar, Vaishnava calendar, is the appearance day of Shripad Ramanuja Acharya, who is a great saintly person, an incarnation, partial incarnation of Lakshman, who is the younger brother of Lord. Don't worry about the garland. Just it's fine. Hare Krishna. Okay. Garland Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. All right. So he is the partial incarnation of Lord of Lakshman, who is the younger brother of Lord Ram, of course, who will be celebrating on Ram Nomi in a few days. He appeared, according to the authorities, traditional authorities, he appeared in the year 1017. That means it was 1,008 years ago that he appeared. And he disappeared in the year 1127, which means he was 120 years old when he passed away. Some modern scholars bring his birth date up to around 1150, which is possible. 1050, which means he would have only been in his 70s when he passed away. But still, the fact that he lived a long time, and they didn't keep records. But we do have sources that teach us about his life, and we've heard many of the stories. And today, I'm going to be only briefly touching on some of the stories we've heard and speak more about his contribution to the great Vaishnava lines of disciplic succession. Because there are 4 lines of disciplic succession, and the line of disciplic succession that Sripad Ramanuja Acharya comes in is the Sri Sampradaya, the Lakshmi Sampradaya. We, in our tradition, come in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is the Madhvacharya is the Acharya of the Brahma Sampradaya. So the Sampradaya begins with Lord Brahma and then Madhvacharya. But because we are also a specialty branch of the Madhva Sampradaya, we're the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. But each of the Sampradayas is very important and has contributed, as we'll hear soon, to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is the modern incarnation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement to give everyone in this material world a chance to hear the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Sripad Ramanujacharya, he appeared in a village near Kanchipuram in South India, in the state of what is now Tamil Nadu, and actually all his activities occurred in that southern region of India. He spent time in Kanchipuram. There also is the great temple to Balaji in Tirupati, which is a little north of Kanchipuram. And then he also spent many, many years in Sri Rangam, where he actually has his samadhi at this time. So his whole life was lived in Tamil Nadu, which means he didn't travel really that much, but his influence is very, very great for all Vaishnavas. The Vriddha Padma Purana actually predicts the coming of this great personality, Ramanujacharya. It states, long, long afterwards, the Lord himself will come down on earth as a Tridanda Sannyasin to restore the good law. At that time, heretics and men of perverted intellects will confuse the minds of the people. Asuric Shastras, based upon fallacious arguments and various schools of thought, very attractive and almost indistinguishable from the Vedanta, will turn away men's hearts from Vishnu and cause them to forget his glory. That glorious incarnation will, through the good fortune of the Lord's devotees, come down upon earth to explain and amplify the teachings of the great sage Badarayana and the divine singer of the Gita. The Holy One would compose a bhashya on the Vyasa Sutras to save men from the confusion and despair caused by spurious doctrines and lead them to the true faith. So this is the position of a great personality like Ramanuja Acharya. We do know that the history of the descent of this great knowledge of bhakti, it became lost at a period of time around the time of Lord Buddha because of the unpious brahmanas who were not using the Vedic understanding properly and were ultimately using the Vedas to be a good excuse to kill animals. So that Lord Buddha came and he separated away from the Vedic teachings and created his own understanding, which of course now is known as Buddhism. Some 1,500 years later, Shankaracharya in the 8th century, he appeared and he reestablished the Vedas, but as it states here, it was not an understanding of the Vedas that was based upon the original understanding that was handed down by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita or Vyasadeva in all of his writings. So that when Ramanuja Acharya appeared, his purpose in life was to reestablish bhakti as the supreme goal of all the Vedas. And to do this, he would actually be spending his whole life in debate with certain personalities about what the purpose of life is and who the Supreme Lord is. Of course, the earliest encounter with Mayavad philosophy was when he was a boy, and he had a Mayavad guru. And I won't get into the whole story. We've heard it a number of times, but the guru was interpreting many of the writings of Vyasa and the descriptions of the Lord in very, very devious and rather sickening ways, comparing the Lord's eyes to animals and different things like this. And the boy couldn't stand this, and therefore there was a run-in with his guru. Ultimately, the guru wanted to kill him, but he, of course, was saved by the Lord through various agents. So what's important to understand is that he had many encounters with many gurus. The most important one of his life was Yadavacharya, whom he followed as the Acharya after him. And actually, his connection with Yadavacharya was not that close in many ways. He had some connection, but actually when he, at the time of Yadavacharya's passing away, Ramanujacharya didn't arrive until after he'd already left his body. But he then promised 3 vows that he would take up in order to carry on the mission of Yadavacharya. And these 3 vows ultimately meant that he would write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, that he would appoint acharyas after him to carry on the line, and that he would establish this understanding of bhakti as the highest principle. So what I want to do today is actually speak about Lord Chaitanya and how Lord Chaitanya he actually took 2 principles from each of the sampradayas and incorporated them into his own teachings. And so we're going to take a look today at what Lord Chaitanya took from the Sri Sampradaya, and how that's been incorporated into our Krishna consciousness movement. Here. So, the Guru Parampara of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is an established link with the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. There are also three other Sampradayas, the Sri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Kumara Sampradaya. And in all these Sampradayas, Lord Chaitanya, he took something that we now incorporate within our Krishna consciousness movement. From the Madhva Sampradaya, the principle of completely defeating Mayavadi philosophy has been established, and the principle of worshiping the deity of Krishna has been established. From the Vishnu Swami of the Rudra Sampradaya, the sentiment of total dependence on Krishna has been adopted, and the spontaneous path of devotional service, Rag Marga, has been established. From Nimbarka, which is the Kumara Sampradaya, the need of taking exclusive shelter of Radhika has been adopted, and the exalted mood of the gopis' love for Krishna, Gopi Bhav, has been adopted. So that means that from the Sri Sampradaya or the Lakshmi Sampradaya, the two main points were actually developed, and these are: one, the concept of unalloyed devotion free from karma and jnana, or what we call ananya bhakti, and secondly, service to the devotees, bhakta jana seva. So these are important points. It's also mentioned by some personalities I was reading that the worship of the deity, which is listed here as coming from the Madhva Sampradaya, was also emphasized very much by Ramanuja Acharya, because he was actually coming into an environment of impersonalism. In fact, the environment in South India when he appeared had this Shiva impersonalism as the main focus. You'll still see in places like in Kanchipuram, the city is divided between the Vishnu side and the Shiva side, and there's always some arguments going on between the Shivites and the Vaishnavas. But at that time, he really established the understanding of deity worship also. But let's look at these concepts that he has given us, so that our Krishna consciousness movement is actually formed in part by Ramanujacharya and, of course, the other acharyas. But the first concept, which is Ananya Bhakti, is best understood through a very famous verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, which is quoted in many places, and including in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's actually where I'm reading from here is Madhya Lila 19, verse number 167. And this is a famous verse. We've all heard it. We probably know it. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. This is a famous verse which speaks of Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti is bhakti that's not motivated by any material desire. There's lots and lots of personalities, people who worship God, and they have some devotion to God, and actually they're trying to actually be better people and act in a way which pleases God, but ultimately they have a motive. They want to be a really good person, a kind person. They want to be an important person to help other people. There's so many good motivations, but the motivation is always somehow or another about me. How can God help me be something good? Sometimes people say, how can God help me be something bad? I mean, it's Ravana worshipped Lord Shiva, and he wasn't really trying to be good. But the point being is that this religious or spiritual understanding has not Krishna in the center, but it has me in the center. And I may be, in an orbit around Krishna very closely, and I really appreciate what he does for me. But that's not Ananya Bhakti. So the translation is, when first-class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy, and fruit of action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. And so, anya abhilashita shunyam. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Without desires other than those for the service of Lord Krishna, or without material desires. And then Prabhupada adds in things, the four regulated principles. Also, without jnana, without the desire for knowledge of the philosophy of the monist Mayavadis, or karma, fruit of activities. And then by so many other things. Adi, by artificially practicing detachment, mechanical practice of yoga, or studying Sankhya philosophy, and so on. So the idea is that jnana, karma, and all these other things that people are interested in have nothing to do with Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means that we want to come to a point where we're seeing ourselves simply as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis, as Lord Chaitanya said. So Prabhupada writes in the purport to this verse. This verse is also found in Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We can understand from the Bhagavad Gita, and these verses are Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru mam evaishyasi yuktaivyam atmanam mat parayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me, being completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. That's verse 934. It's also repeated in 1865 with a slightly different ending, which says, thus you will always come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. As we can understand from Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead wants everyone to think of him always. Manmana bhava, mad bhakta. Everyone should become his devotee, not the devotee of a demigod. Everyone should engage in his devotional service, including archana, deity worship in the temple. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Everyone should offer obeisances from moment to moment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are the desires of the Supreme Lord, and one who fulfills his desires favorably is actually a devotee. So this is the principle that's been given to us from Sripad Ramanuja Acharya. After all, he had many gurus. After all, one of his gurus, Gosti Purnam, he taught him a mantra, which he said, don't repeat this to everybody, because everybody will be then liberated and be able to go to Vaikuntha. And it was Om Namo Narayanaya. And as soon as he got the mantra, he immediately went to the rooftop and said, Om Namo Narayanaya, and everybody started chanting, and then his guru became very angry and said, you've disobeyed me, you're going to go to hell. And Ramanujacharya said, well, then I'll go to hell, because everybody else is going to be able to become pure devotee. And when he said that, because he said that, his guru then became his disciple, showing the power of this personality who purely wanted to be engaged in the service of the Lord. These are the personalities who are the heads of our sampradayas. They're not ordinary personalities. And then another point here. Farther on, Prabhupada says, the criterion is that a devotee must know what Krishna wants him to do. This understanding can be achieved through the medium of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, one who is serious in wanting to render pure devotional service to the Lord must take shelter of a spiritual master who comes in the disciplic succession from Krishna. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashayo vidu. Without accepting a spiritual master coming in the disciplic succession, one cannot find out the real purpose of devotional service. So, this Ananya Bhakti, we owe this understanding to Sripad Ramanuja Acharya. The other point he made was service to devotees. And this is a very important point, the service to devotees, because this Bhakta Jana Seva is how we live our life. You see, I was reading something recently about people who live long lives, and what the principles are it's interesting. And almost all it's said that every one of these people who live long lives, over 100, almost everyone has an active and very rich spiritual life. And they did like 100 interviews, and all but 5 were very, very focused on some sort of spirituality. They also had a close group of associates who helped them live a clean and healthy life, and who they can share everything with. It talked about people on the island of Okinawa who develop these little groups, and they actually start their little groups of friendships when they're like 5 years old. And at 102, the same group is still together. Like, for 100 years. So we have our group of those who we share with, who we have a spiritual connection to. And it's so important for us to be healthy and be spiritually alive, to connect in a way which is loving and caring with those around us. This is true even for lower levels of understanding, because this was talking about people living healthy, positive lives that don't ultimately really have any focus on Krishna. Although, these persons do understand, as it says, to almost to the last person, of a close understanding of God have in their life. But for us who are trying to develop Ananya Bhakti, how important it is that we have associates who we can love and care for and share our lives with, and how important it is that we develop good relationships. And that means more than just not being offensive. It means being loving and caring. To that end, I looked up some quotes by Srila Prabhupada where he speaks about devotee relationships. And these are coming from classes where he speaks about the Vaishnava devotees and how important it is for us to really focus in on a loving relationship. This is coming from a class in 1973 in Los Angeles from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, and it's the 15th chapter in verses 22 and 23. He's speaking about don't offend devotees. Even you insult Krishna, he will tolerate, but if you insult his devotee, he will never tolerate. Then you are finished. Then you are finished. Just like a big man, if you insult him, he may think, all right, let him. But if you insult or do something to harm his child, he will never tolerate. He will never tolerate. Similarly, a devotee who is dependent on Krishna in everything. If someone does harm to him, insults him, Krishna will never tolerate. That is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vaishnava Aparad. Tara Madhye Vaishnava Aparada Hatimata. Hatimata, that's the mad elephant offense. So we should be very careful not to offend Vaishnava devotees, not to offend. This is greatest offense. Therefore it is said, Vipra Shapa Vimudham. Vimudham. Not just a mudha, but a vimudha. A really big mudha. Those who are rascal, fools, they will want to try to insult real Brahmana, Vaishnava. Then they are finished. Of course, a Vaishnava never curses, tolerates. Trinadapi sunichenat tororapi. Vaishnava tolerates, but Vishnu never tolerates. So we should know that we're living with saints. And we may think that this person or that person, they have some bad habit that really aggravates me. But we shouldn't be thinking about the bad habit that aggravates me. We should be thinking about the bad habit I have that aggravates them. Because, it's not like I'm the only person who doesn't agitate people. The whole world is agitating me. Why can't they all be like me? There was many, many years ago TV program that put on like different little vignettes. And one of the stories was this fellow thought that everybody in the whole world just didn't get it and they should be just like him. So by some sort of magic, he all of a sudden woke up one day and everyone was just like him. And he went crazy. Because everyone was treating him just like he treated everyone else, and he couldn't take it because he was being treated so poorly. So maybe if we woke up one day saying, I wish everybody was like me, we might really feel bad because everybody might treat me just like I'm treating others. So we should be thinking, how can I treat others very nicely? And not offend others, because everyone's a saint. Everyone who comes to Krishna is saintly. We may have some rough edges, and we may, Prabhupada gives this example. He talks about how, in a purport, he says that, I may not be writing in perfect English, but I'm hoping everyone will understand what the purport of what I'm saying is. That a devotee may not actually execute everything perfectly, but the devotee executes everything with the purpose of serving Krishna. Therefore, that's perfect. Then he speaks in Hawaii, March 24th, 1969, Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9, 11 through 13. Demigod means devotee. There are two classes of men in the world. One class is demigod. Who are demigod? Those who are Vaishnavas. They are demigods. Demigod does not mean that something extraordinary. Okay, so this means that devotees are demigods, but it doesn't mean that the devotees go around like able to pull trees out of the ground or something extraordinary, or create rain or make the sun move or whatever, because that's demigods can do that, and they do that in the service of the Lord. But demigod means a person who is a sura, a person who's serving Krishna. So Prabhupada says that the Vaishnavas are demigods. Demigod does not mean that something extraordinary. Anyone who is Vaishnava devotee of the Supreme Lord, he is demigod. That is a statement of Vedic literature. Vishnu Bhakto Bhaved Daiva. Daiva. Daiva means devata or demigod. Asuras tad viparyaya. And those who are atheistic demons, they are just the opposite. They are never devotees. So we see this actually in our dealings in the world. Someone may be very nice externally, but that niceness doesn't go very far. They're nice because, they're a customer service representative and they want to get 5 stars so they can get a raise. They're nice for so many reasons that have nothing to do with having a clean heart and a good disposition towards others. But Prabhupada teaches us that we should have clean hearts and a good disposition. And this is actually what we're being taught ultimately by Sripad Ramanuja Acharya, that the devotee is the most important person on the planet, and we should always honor the devotee. Prabhupada writes or speaks on a disappearance day lecture for his Gurudev Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He writes, "So that is not very astonishing, but my appeal to you on this auspicious day of the departure of my Guru Maharaj, that at least to some extent you have understood the essence of the Krishna consciousness movement, should try to push it on. People are suffering for want of this consciousness. As we daily pray about devotees, Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls." This is what we say. And this is what is being delivered on a day like today, when we can remember the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, like Sripad Ramanuja Acharya, because it's through the mercy of these great personalities that we are here today. And of course, Srila Prabhupada has distilled everything into a very simple formula. And we live this formula. We see the deities, we read the Bhagavatam, we associate with devotees, we take prasad, and we chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And by doing this, our lives become, as Prabhupada says, perfect. So we'll stop there and ask if there's any questions or comments. There's a few minutes today. I actually was able to finish. That's very important. Rudrani says, how important it is for us to have a good disposition. Well, there was a person named Dale Carnegie. And Dale Carnegie was not exactly a pure devotee, but Dale Carnegie had some understandings about human nature. And he talked about, one of his examples was getting on an elevator in the morning and going to work, and someone's on the elevator and they're all grumpy and upset. Well, he said the least you can do is have a big smile on your face and say, have a nice day, it's a good day. And therefore, that person will have a little better feeling that day than he had before. And he said that having this kind of attitude was how to make friends and influence people. In other words, having that sunny disposition. Now, it's not always possible to have a sunny disposition, especially in this material world today. People don't have very sunny dispositions because it's pretty nasty. Actually, it's always been nasty. But now we have the internet, so we can really tune into the nastiness everywhere, all over the place, at all times. So it isn't like we can just live our life in some little village in 1880 where life's always sunny and very nice. Of course, it wasn't, because people got sick and died. But, that kind of illusory thing. So, how to have that sunny disposition? We should be grateful at every moment that we have been given a chance to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the grace of our Gurudev. And therefore, if we wake up one morning on the wrong side of bed, we should realize that what really is wrong here? Nothing really is wrong here as long as I have the association of pure devotees who can help remind me of my relationship with Krishna, and therefore the last thing I should do is bring my lousy disposition out to bother everybody else. I should smile and be happy. And actually, if I smile and be happy because I understand I'm with devotees who are also the mercy of the Lord, I'll actually be happy. And it won't be a fake. It's not like you can fake it till you make it. I mean, that's how some people say that. But really, in Krishna consciousness, faking isn't really going to make it. But if we actually take it to heart that we're the most fortunate people in the world because we have association with devotees who are reminding us of our relationship with Krishna at every moment, even if they do bother us because they don't pick things up right, or they didn't put that thing back on the shelf the way I like it. After all, that's supposed to be there. How dare they? No, that's not what we worry about. We worry only that we can remember Krishna more and more. Hare Krishna. Chandra bole, Jeev jago, Jeev Jago Gora Chandra Bole Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Picha Chira Kole Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Picha Chira Kole Baji Bobolia Eshe Samsara Bitore 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 Bulia Rohile to me Avidyara Bahare Bulia Rohile to me Avidyara Bahare Tomare Loite Ami Hoinu Avatara 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 Ami Bina Bandhuara Keache Tamara Ami Bina Bandhuara Keache Tamara Hey Nate Ashaudi Maya Nasi Baralvagi Neche Ashaudi Maya Nasi Baranagi Harinama Mantra Loud to me Magi 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 Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Pariya Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Pariya Say Hari Nama Mantra Loilo Magiya 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 Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Gora Chandra Bole, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Gora Chandra Bole, Gota Nidra Jaya Maya, Picha Chira Kole, Gota Nidra Jaya Maya, Picha Chira Kole. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radhe, Jaya Radha Kananda, Radha Golokananda, Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radhe, Jaya Radha Kananda, Radha Golokananda, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya 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 Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai.
Sankirtana Jaya ki
jai. Lord Gaurachandra is calling, wake up, sleeping soul, wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I am your only true friend. Other than me, what friend do you have? I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant for deliverance, Maha Mantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet, takes shelter of the Harinam Mantra, the Lord's holy names. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. And we'll be having Harinam this weekend on Saturday, and we decided we'll do it in Hillsborough, and we'll do it from 11:30 till 1, or maybe 1:30 if it works out. So we'll be in our usual spot by Weaver Street Market between 11:30 and 1 or 1:30. Harinam Sankirtan here in Hillsborough this weekend on Saturday. Please come. Haribo. Chaito Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagi Shreya Kairav Yadikaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vidayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinada Pisunichena Tarora Pisuhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintayam Nayanam Galarshu Daraya Varanam Gadgadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlisha Vapadamratam Manastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatava Vidadatullampato Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge, enhances the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregation.